So now we're going to see how the document outlining algorithm works. And this is just exploratory, just sort of FYI, good to know about. And that way, you ever run into anything, you understand what's going on. All right. Or if it ever becomes widely adopted, you know how to use it. So here's the first step. And nav article section aside, remember we said, standard current modern practice, just make sure your headings, H1 through H6, are used to denote the importance of different topics on your page, H1 through H6, right? And then over here, document outlining algorithm not only uses headings, but also nav article section and aside and body. And so let's understand that algorithm a little bit. The first step is to see what happens when we just have nav article section and aside. And I remember those with the acronym NASA. So that's a little mnemonic device. I like mnemonic devices. So if I preview this, and what is the outline? And remember, this is the outline from the document outline algorithm. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that. All right, we have untitled body, untitled, untitled, untitled. All those are untitled. Well, that's kind of interesting. Well, what happens if we come down and we give them titles? So the first heading inside any explicit section, and these right here are explicit sections. Nav article section aside, from the perspective of the document outline algorithm, they create new sections. The first heading inside any explicit section is the topic for that section. So here, H1, that's the heading for body. It's the first heading inside body. So don't forget, not only nav article section aside, but also body. Create explicit sections. And the first heading inside this one, right, even though it's an H5, well, that's the heading for this section. And then here we have different headings for these explicit sections right there. So if we look at this, they will all now no longer be untitled. And it's heading for explicit section body, nav, article, section aside. Cool. This is just like the precision of engineering, right? The nuances, understanding the nuances. All right. So the next thing is implicit sections. And there's a couple of rules to know about. We have them right here. So I put them into the outline. And so explicit sections are created by body, nav, article, section aside. And the first heading in an explicit section represents the heading for that section, right? And subsequent headings of equal or higher rank start a new implicit section. And subsequent headings of lower rank start a new implicit section that is a subsection of the previous section. What's that mean? So here we have just some headings. This is the body. That's the explicit section. And so here's the first heading. So that's the heading for the explicit section, right? That's the topic of that section. And this one's of equal or higher rank. If it's H2, it'd be higher. H1 would be higher. H3 is equal to this H3, right? So subsequent headings of equal or higher rank start a new implicit section. Subsequent headings of equal or higher rank start a new implicit section. So if we look at that, we have heading for explicit section body and implicit section, right? It implicitly started a new section. So it is saying that, okay, hey, since this is the same level, the heading is the same level as this one, this must be a new section because anything else would have been indented underneath this, right? H4, H5, H6, these would have been subtopics for this section, which is that right there. It's kind of weird. And since this one is not a subtopic, it must be a new section. So this ended the body section from the outline algorithm's perspective, and it started a whole new section right here. I know, it's kind of wacky. Maybe this is why it's never been adopted. All right. And then we have here implicit subsection, so it's less than the H3, and an implicit subsection, less than the H3, less than H4, same subsection, and then H2, right? Well, H2 comes out, it's higher than H3, so it comes out, starts a new section. That's lower, so subsection, and then our implicit section. So you can see how that contributes to the outline. Right? Subsection, 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 section, section. So that's how the document outline algorithm looks at things. It looks at things in terms of sections. And you can have an explicit section, which is created by body, nav, article, aside, section, body, nav, article, section, aside. There we go. Those right there. Those are explicit sections. And then the first heading within an explicit section becomes the topic or the heading for that section. And then you have those additional rules right here, right, where subsequent headings of equal or higher rank start a new implicit section, so bring it back out, and subsequent headings of lower rank start an implicit section that's a subsection of the previous section. All right, so that's how the document outlining algorithm looks at headings, nav, article, section, aside, and body all working together. Just good to know about. And the most important thing to remember is that your headings, H1 through H6, that's what you use to convey the importance of different topics on your page. Okay? And if you ever come across document outlining algorithm stuff, you understand why you might get an outline which looks kind of funny, even if, things were different, like we saw in the Anthony Bourdain example, right? So the outlines look the same, but some of the headings were different. It's like, what's going on? Now we understand more what's going on. So that's just a cursory introduction to explicit and implicit sections, but literally that's all there is to know. And I've given you a few resources here if you want to read a little bit more about document outlining. There is a Smashing Magazine, which is a good magazine online for web stuff. They have an article on document outlining, and then there's a couple more different articles right here. And then we have some documentation. The W3 and MDN has this page right there, so you can check those out too. But remember, the most important thing is just to have your headings conveying the importance of the different topics on your web page.